you guys are squirreling around like you're two chipmunks that never went to fair at college.
What does that even mean?
You're still not listening. You guys have to stop dicking around.
This time stream thing has a time limit, and yes, I see the irony in that.
You never told us how or where or what, just when, which is apparently right goddamn now.
Oh, well, no, sure, more excuses. No, that's fine. It's not like it's our dimension that's in danger of imminent temporal collapse.
Catch you later then.
Bye.
Seriously, get your shit together.
Since when do you guys start wearing hats?
What? We wear hats now.
Hats are cool.
Christmas is canceled.
Who gives a shit?
What do you mean that's fine? You've been getting shit ready to celebrate the season all day.
I am overflowing with feelings for the season, bro, but Christmas is for babies. He's here!
Who's here?
Bleepity bloop! Did you bring it? You know it! There you go. Thanks, dude! Well, Merry El Santomas to the both of you. Catch you on the bleepity bloops!
What was that about? And why did he bring you this cape? And more importantly, why is he speaking with your voice?
Well, I lent him the rights to my voice so he wouldn't freak people out with his 8-bit voice, because he's kind of scared.
Sure.
And in return, he's lending me his cape. It's for El Santomas.
Alright, I'll bite. What's El Santomas?
Well, it all started with the great El Enmascaradas del Plato. You may know him as Samson,
I don't know him at all.
but he's El Santo, you dummy. You are so dumb. He's the greatest lucha wrestler that ever lived. He used to fight monsters and gangsters and even other masked wrestlers.
Psst, no way.
Wait, he was in comics, movies, all sorts of stuff. He passed away a few years ago, but some people say maybe he didn't, and that he took to bringing justice to the world 364 days out of the year.
Well, Jake, aren't you missing a day?
God, you are so... Ugh. On the 365th day, he drives around in his tiny sports car collecting gifts from all the people he justice for, and that day is El Santomas.
Sounds butch. So how does one celebrate El Santomas?
You are killing me. There is a list of things that you have to prepare for El Santomas, and if you get it just right, maybe El Santo will come and hang out with you for El Santomas. I've been trying it for years, but I still haven't been able to get it right.
Jake, I've known you for years. You've never done this.
That's because no one north of the border celebrates El Santomas. I'm a man from the country.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, now that I have the cape, I can go to the next thing on my list. Which is watching some El Santo movies.
Well, I did come in here to tell you something really important about our storyline. But, as usual, fuck it.
I smell a review coming on!
It's right there, isn't it?
Welcome to Jake and Trev Review Everything.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Trev. And it's a very special Santomas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're getting into the holiday spirit. We just watched 2 movies, The Mummies of Guanajuato.
And Santo versus the Vampire Women. El Santo, the Saint, the most famous and wonderful of the Mexican luchadors.
El Enmascarado del Plata.
Truly a folk hero of his people. He has definitely made the transition to just about every type of entertainment in his
Comic
day.
books, movies.
Everything.
I think there's a cartoon.
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me.
Santo!
While he is truly a legend down south of the border, he's relatively unknown here in the States.
Yeah. We got 4 movies that were mostly under the name Samson.
Hi, and at last you got here, Samson. I came as soon as I got your message, Professor.
The kind of cheap movies that would play late night on whatever station, just sold to different affiliates just to kind of fill airtime. I know that Samson, as it's called in the States, Samson versus the Vampire Women, was one of the selections for MST3K back in the day.
AKA the Silver Masked Man versus the Vampire Women.
But there's a lot of redeeming qualities here, a lot of good stuff, and I'm, having watched them, I can say I'm definitely in the El Santomas spirit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The first movie was El Santo versus the Vampire Women.
And in this picture, a coven of vampire women are raised back to life, following a lapse of 200 years since the last time they tried some kind of big scheme.
At the end of 200 years, Tundra will seek revenge in one of Rebecca's descendants. This unfortunate young girl will inherit the beauty that her ancestor enjoyed. And when she becomes 21 years of age, she will be initiated into the black rituals of the vampire women to succeed Serena.
While the old vampire queen goes to hell to serve at the devil's side.
Sit on her queenly throne in hell.
Yeah.
So,
it's for the movie, it's kind of a complicated plot.
But Professor, let me know what's happening here, simply for Diana's good.
No, don't insist. I repeat, I can't say any more, Charles. Now, do me a favor. Leave me alone.
And now now that 200 years has passed, it's time once again for all this to happen. And there are legends about these events that are known to the girl in modern times, her father, a professor of some sort. I don't think they ever specifically say what he's a professor of.
He's a professor of sciencely things.
55 minutes into the movie, we meet Samson, or more accurately, El Santo.
And the man in the silver mask is Samson!
He's contacted by the professor, and he's, to be honest, he's more of a, he's the title character, but he's really more he's a solution of the plot rather than the protagonist even, really. He's not doing any detecting. A lot of people compare El Santo to Batman. And there are a lot of similarities, but that's one of the things, he's not really a detective. No, he's not really spending a lot of time flexing his brain in this. He just finds vampires and just wrestles the shit out of them. Yeah. That's his deal, which is awesome.
It's awesome!
Right, and according to these old tomes that the professor has laying around, the original vampire coven 200 years ago was defeated by a silver-masked man, and that, fortunately...
The documents say that he also would have a descendant, an outstanding young man of enormous strength, destined to hide his identity under a silver-colored mask, Samson. That extraordinary young man is obviously you. So that's basically the plot. That's the whole plot of Vampire Women. But I should tell you something else. You're gonna notice a couple of themes starting to emerge as we describe the second movie. Yeah, absolutely. The Mummies of Guanajuato. The storyline is that and this is an actual place where there are actual mummies, but these mummies in particular, one of them is a wrestler from 100 years ago named Satan.
La momificación de este cuerpo no obedeció a componentes químicos de la Tierra, sino a un pacto diabólico que su poseedor tuvo en vida. He sold his soul to become the best wrestler in the world, and the only person that could stop him at the time was El Santo.
Óigame, chiquillo. Santo el enmascarado de plata no vivió hace 100 años.
El santo a que me refiero fue su antepasado. El antepasado del hoy famoso enmascarado de plata derrotó a Satán.
He was defeated and was never able to wrestle again against El Santo in his lifetime. So he was mummified by the devil and waited for 100 years to come back and fight his descendant.
To get revenge.
To get revenge. It's revenge pure and simple. And the main story of this movie is actually carried out by another pair of luchadors.
Okay, so the other luchadors are Blue Demon and Man of a Thousand Masks. Two of the others with Santo forming the big three, as many, the holy trinity of luchador wrestling.
Yeah, this is like your Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman of the wrestling.
They're the greatest and best.
Yeah. So they are on the heels of this mystery. These mummies come to life. Their friend, the Penguin, no affiliation to the DC character.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
Is a tour guide in Guanajuato, and he realizes the mummies have come to life, and he alerts Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras, the Man of a Thousand Masks, to this happening, but nobody really believes it.
Será mejor que nos olvidemos del asunto pingüino, o de lo contrario creerán que hemos perdido.
Many of the major players in this story have knowledge of the mummies and the legend of the mummies and Satan and how Santo beat him.
Ha sido la mascota de mi equipo durante años, y gracias a ello te enteraste de esa leyenda acerca de Santo el enmascarado de plata y de Satán.
But a lot of them consider it to be, just like a folk legend or whatever, nothing really to be worried about.
Ahora recuerdo que Santo tampoco cree en esa absurda leyenda, y solo la relata como una conseja de familia.
But different people, primarily Mil Mascaras' girlfriend, keeps trying to get them to call Santo. Get Santo in here.
Yeah, get Santo in here. He knows how to do
Call
it.
Santo. I mean, this is his legend, right?
Te repito que la momia de Satán no estaba, que yo vi sus huellas. Y si crees que me he vuelto loca, toma y dáselo a otra que esté en su juicio.
And they're like, no, we can handle this without Santo.
Yeah. And they try.
They try valiantly. They wrestle the shit out of some mummies. There's no doubt about that. The mummies seem to have some intelligence. They're not, you know what I mean? They're definitely acting
They're not
with
brainless or shamble. Well, they shamble, but they're not
brainless. Right. And at one point, they knock out Blue Demon and steal his clothes and put it on one of the mummies and have him go around committing crimes to frame Blue Demon. Apparently, again, like, I don't know how that's supposed to lure Santo here necessarily.
The plots of both movies have a lot of twists and turns that are unnecessary almost.
Yeah.
I mean, they make the movie. Without them, there wouldn't really be a movie. If it were just in the Mummies of Guanajuato, if it were just the mummies come to life and then Satan fights El Santo, short movie.
Right.
If the vampires came to life and just took the girl and
Santo had to go and get them right away. Short movie.
Right.
The producers of these films delay your Santo gratification.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's more Santo in the Vampire Women than there are in the Mummies. But even then, like, they have excuses, even in the Mummies, to have Santo on screen.
Yeah, where they reference the fact that he's on the road traveling, trying to get to his next match, and kind of to remind you that Santo is a part of this and he's coming. He's traveling here right now, dear watcher. Don't. If you came here for your Santo,
you're gonna get your Santo.
You're gonna get it. Like, there was a really definitive plan on how these movies are supposed to be made. There's a little bit of everything here. You have your action, you have your, romance, where, like, there's the girl from Vampiros who's getting married, and and they have a couple of scenes with her and her fiance. There's musical numbers.
Por Dios del cielo, me gustas mucho.
There's, like, there's scares. That's where the monsters are there for the horror. And so each of these pictures is actually supposed to basically have all the parts that somebody might want to go and see from a movie.
Oh, absolutely.
So
it's
the whole family.
Smorgasbord of.
It's a movie for the whole family.
Yeah. My complaint is that there's less El Santo than I would like.
Yeah.
But he's there at all the critical moments, and he doesn't disappoint.
God bless Samson.
I'd say my overall thoughts on both of these movies, there have been over 40 movies.
In a row?
With El Santo in them, to give you kind of a reference. And we were only able to get our hands on 2 translated movies. We'd like to do more in the future. I'd like to see more. But overall, I feel like with that many movies, I feel like there's probably, enough Santo to go around.
There's something to be admired about the simplicity of the character, that they never have to sit and spend time with inner monologue with Santo questioning whether he can do this.
Yeah.
Of course he can do this. He's El Santo.
Yeah.
Que yo creía que todo esto era una leyenda de mi antepasado.
It would be like if in the Marine, it was just John Cena who was the Marine. Or in G.I. Joe, if instead of, what did he play, Roadblock?
Yeah.
Instead of being Roadblock, it was just...
The Rock, professional wrestler, joined G.I. Joe, and now he's going to save the day.
And to be fair, it's not a far stretch to have wrestlers occupy space in G.I. Joe world.
Dig. The affection that the people who made the movie have for El Santo and Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras, it comes through.
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
You must believe, boy. You must believe.
I'm a true believer now, Dr. Jones.
I believe in El Santo.
And you might too, so you should definitely give these a try. Try to maybe have your own El Santomas. But right now, we're going to give you a list of things, rules, if you will, about El Santo.
From what we've gleaned from these 2 movies.
Those pumpkin pies aren't gonna listen to us. And now we're gonna have good Jake and Trev all up in our behindle regions.
That's right. All up-ins. We've been monitoring your progress, and it has been left wanting. You guys suck, is what he's saying. Also, take off those stupid hats. And since you're so full of suck, we're going to have to take matters into our own hands.
We can do better, us?
Yes! Lots of better!
It's too late for that. And now that you failed us, we're gonna punish you. Because we can. Fabulous Jake and Trev. Tell them what they've won.
Since you boys are from the opposite dimension, we know you don't like to celebrate Christmas.
We're here to tinsel your tree and deck your halls. Get ready for the frickin' holly jolly time of your life.
No!
We're halfway through the review. That means we're this closer to crossing off the last thing on my list for El Santomas. Real lucha masks.
You mean you're gonna get one for me?
You know it, bud.
Yes.
Gentlemen, silence!
Who are you guys?
We are good Jake and Trev.
Hey, I thought we were the good Jake and Trev.
Well, actually, your dimension is the awesome dimension. You're from the awesome dimension.
Awesome!
Exactly. See, we tried to get evil Jake and Trev to help you on your quest and do the right thing. However, it seems that they've failed. So we've come to you as ambassadors for the League of Dimensions.
Wow, that sounds all official and shit.
And shit indeed. We're an alliance of benevolent-minded Jake and Trevs across 100 dimensions who work together to preserve the existence of everything. Plus, most of us review things.
How do we get in?
Well, you will need a pander.
Say what?
A pan-dimensional eidetic rasterizer. It's a device that allows you to communicate with the Jake and Trevs of the other dimensions.
Nice. How do we get one?
You have to learn to make one yourself. Prime Directive rules.
Oh, so how do we make one?
That you'll have to find out on your own. They can take on endless forms. For example, this is ours. It is the action figure of Mr. Orange, our favorite character from Reservoir Dogs. Right now, you really do have to focus on fixing the time streams by finding the magical MacGuffins. Otherwise, you won't be around long enough to join the League. Okay?
Okay.
We believe in you. You are the only ones who can do this. Jake and Trev, out.
Wow, that was awesome!
No, we're awesome.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the best El Santomas ever.
Jake, we don't have time to celebrate El Santomas anymore. We gotta fix time.
We will, but we can't just forget about El Santomas. It only comes once a year.
And it will come next year, if we find the MacGuffins.
Fine, look, we'll finish the review like professionals, then we'll figure it out.
Fine. Deal. Rule number 1.
El Enmascarado del Plata, the man in the silver mask. It's not just one guy.
Never has been.
It's a legacy. It's a line. It's a bloodline. Much like Simon Belmont.
Right.
Or Richter Belmont.
Right. A family lineage of heroes that, goes through time, and whenever some evildoer, raises their ugly head, a member of the El Santo line will rise to meet that challenge.
Rule number 2.
El Santo does not take his mask off. It's the most important. It's so important we should have made it number 1, but we're dumb.
You're dumb.
He does not take the mask off. He does not take it off in any of the movies. The threat of taking off his mask appears at least a couple times, and it's a dire one. But more importantly, he never took his mask off in his regular day-to-day life. And in fact, the one time El Santo did take off his mask, this is historically accurate, he took it off as a kind of a big reveal after he retired from professional wrestling, and 1 week later, he died. He died
of
a heart attack.
Maybe he didn't?
So yeah, he died in his mask, he was buried in his mask.
This is the Mausoleos del Ángel, where El Santo is laid to rest. And as you can see, even in death, he wears his mask.
And so, logically that says one thing. If Santo were to take off his mask, he would die. Because when he did, he did. Or did he?
Or did he?
Maybe he didn't?
Number 3.
El Santo always has something to do. And in the case of the vampire women, at one point he's asked, hey, do you want to stick around and protect my daughter from the vampire women taking her? And he's like,
No, Professor. I have other plans. But I'll be responsible for Diana's safety.
So he leaves.
And it's like, how are you going to protect her? But he totally does.
Somehow, the daughter does not come into any danger when Santo is not around, and when she begins to becoming in danger, Santo's right there.
And the other thing is, you'll notice this because it's not just in what he says, but it's what he does. Because at the end of both of these movies, he basically picks up and leaves. Where it's like, oh, problem solved. We're done, so I'm gonna go. Like, he doesn't stick around, he doesn't have like a ticker tape parade or anything. It's like, oh, I did what I was supposed to.
Doesn't stand around glad-handing with people, just rides off into the sunset.
Yep.
Awesome.
Number 4.
El Santo is justice. Number 5.
The devil hates El Santo. And here's... Just absolutely. And here's why. What we have to assume from at least these 2 movies is that we're talking about a Christian-centric universe where there is a hell and there is a devil. Most of these monsters work under, you have Satan, given his powers by selling his soul to the devil, and then you have the queen of the vampire women who is,
the bride of Satan.
She's the bride of Satan. So...
the devil.
Of the devil, Satan,
whoever.
None of this matters.
And it's a long-going rivalry, as you can tell, because not only was he defeated multiple times in antiquity, but the devil has plans. Plans and plans.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? Well, he planned to have the witches come back 200 years later. And he planned to have the Satan wrestler come back 100 years later. He's really big on century anniversaries. And, he basically has set up multiple times for people to rise up and attempt to take Santo down. He's definitely got a raging one for him.
Number 6.
In Mexico, luchadors are like superheroes. And Santo is the superhero of superheroes. In The Mummies, basically the whole movie, up until the last 30 minutes, has no Santo whatsoever. It's these other wrestlers, Blue Demon, Mil Mascaras, they're doing a good job, they're wrestling, they're kicking ass, they're doing a great thing. And when the time comes where they're so challenged by these mummies that they're doomed, I mean, they don't know what they're going to do, they're losing in fights, who shows up to save the day and rescue these superheroes? Santo.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he shows up, he grabs some fire guns, hands them over, like, he doesn't have just one, he has enough for everybody.
It's as if he knew! Number 7.
The size of El Santo's car is inversely proportionate to the size of his power.
Mm-hmm.
El Santo drives around tiny cars. At one point, reportedly, he was driving around an Aston Martin.
You'll be using this Aston Martin DB5.
That could be used to stop those monsters.
Oh yeah, he drove all the classics.
Oh, yeah.
Aston Martin, old Mustangs, all these like little Italian things. And at first, I thought it was that he's just such like a large, beefy dude that he made the car look small. But as you pointed out, he's like the Wolverine of Mexican wrestlers. He's actually relatively short.
Number 8.
Santo's primary tool for fighting evil is his sweet wrestling moves, obviously. But if that doesn't work, he has a very handy backup. Fire.
It's fire.
I would speculate that one of his ancestors invented the phrase, kill it with fire.
Oh, absolutely. He just, and that's at the end of the Vampire Women, at the end of the Mummy, that's exactly what he does. It's good to know that monsters are easily taken out like that. It could be argued that maybe the guns that he has at the end of the Mummies are like special extra fire guns, like that are burn hotter or something. But
right. White phosphorus guns. At one point, even when using his own superior wrestling moves against the mummies, El Santo says,
Estas momias son indestructibles, huyan!
Eventually he's like, alright, we're just gonna kill him with fire.
Because fire always works, and El Santo knows this. Number 9.
Some people may assume that El Santo is a monster hunter. I mean, he's fighting monsters in both of these movies. Throughout his entire career, he fights monsters.
And to this day.
Oh, yeah. But it's not true.
No.
It's not true at all. Monsters seek him out. In The Vampire Women, he is part of the prophecy that he may stop them, so they have to preemptively try to stop him at some point. In the Mummies, it's even more apparent because Satan wants his match with El Santo again, so that's who he's looking out for, and the entire movie is him trying to defeat Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras so that he can make his, roll over their corpses and make his way to El Santo.
Right. Santo never asked for this.
No.
He is the target of the violence of hunters who are monsters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Number 10.
The only way that you can defeat Santo, and I don't know if I should be saying this, like talking about his weakness openly in the...
Well, you can't really defeat him, but you can try. It's the closest that you can get.
The closest you can get to defeating El Santo is through the use of a deadly and forbidden school of karate known as Chop-Rati. All throughout the movie,
uppercut chop.
Both movies, anytime he's like fighting a monster, part of their repertoire of techniques, it's not just wrestling moves, because the monsters will wrestle with him, but they soon realize that they cannot contend with a contender like El Santo. So then they switch to the karate chops, and they're chopping him, and
it's all chops,
and it works. It just seems to like
he's just like
it's his kryptonite. It just knocks him all around. It's kind of sad.
Been using karate on me, and he could kill me with one blow.
But in the end, he's not truly defeatable at all himself, and he's able to overcome their vile and diabolical form of karate. And finally, number 11.
All the monsters that El Santo fights are not your regular monsters. We have grown up with popular culture as knowing that, vampires are allergic to garlic, hate crosses, hate the sunlight, they have to drink blood, that kind of stuff. And then mummies are, reanimated corpses of people that were preserved over time with magic or something. In The Vampire Women, the vampires in this movie can turn into werewolves.
It's the most bizarre thing. In a pivotal scene in The Vampire Women, Santo is wrestling a black masked wrestler, and remember, one of the previous rules of school of karate. This black mask wrestler, who's really a vampire, is just karate chopping the shit out of Santo, kicking his ass. And then, when they get back into the second round, he rips off the mask and reveals a wolfman. No, we saw it was a vampire.
Yeah. And even at the end, there are police officers in the ring, all sorts of people trying to tie
firing him,
and he's chopping away and chopping away. And eventually, they get him into like a dog pile, and he turns into a bat and flies away.
Does that sound like any kind of fucking vampire you ever heard of? Santo's heard of them.
And in the mummies, they are shambling. They have super strength, as most mummies do. But at one point, they're pursuing El Santo, and El Santo is driving off. And there's no way that he could have driven to the point where he was and then still be pursued by these mummies if they were on foot. And while his promoter is looking on while he's fighting these mummies, mummies just fucking appear out of nowhere behind
Teleport in behind us.
These are super monsters.
And Santo's killing them. So those were our two movies that we watched for this, my first El Santomas. And
I'm glad you're getting into the spirit, Trev.
Well, I was skeptical at first, but he's definitely won me over. He's a man of the people. He is justice. And apparently he's fighting evil 24/7, 364 days of the year around the world. So
it's exactly like I said.
He took to bringing justice to the world 364 days out of the year.
Right. So
Yummy.
Right. Well, now I know, and now there's no going back. It's El Santomas from here forward, folks.
Yeah. So celebrate Santomas with us.
Yeah. Go and get your hands on a couple of copies. Like I said, the ones that have been translated in English, relatively few. I know there's probably a few of you out there who are watching the show who are familiar with the Spanish language, who are going to be able to enjoy a lot more and a wider breadth of these movies than we will. But we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah. So for Jake and Trev Review Everything, I'm Jake.
And I'm Trev.
And thanks for watching.
And a Merry El Santomas to you.
Merry El Santomas. All right, now let's go get those masks.
Masks? No. We gotta go get the MacGuffin.
El Santomas means a lot to me, Trev. You can't just ask me to give it up.
Don't you care that we broke time? It's our job to fix it.
Time will stay together one more day. If time is broken, that means that maybe we already found the MacGuffins and solved the problem. We won! Let's celebrate by finishing El Santomas.
This is insane! Look, I'm gonna go get the next MacGuffin, and you just do whatever you want.
Fine, I'll just have the best El Santomas ever by myself! Hold on.
Wait.
Listen. Yeah. I'm trying to walk away angry.
Alright. Shovel Jake, you're still hanging around here? No, I suppose I don't know where you would go. Well, it's good to see you, old buddy. The real Jake abandoned me for some dumb fake wrestler holiday. It's called El Santomas. It's supposed to be a real big deal. He says he celebrates it every year, but I don't remember that. But he's getting so excited about this that he's forgetting that we're supposed to be the ones fixing time. Well, I guess you're right. It does sound like it's kind of important to him. I do care. Well, we don't have time. Well, yeah, you're right. You do have to find the time to spend with the people you care about. I guess you're right. If I only ever wanted to find the time to do the things that I wanted to do, I guess I should have just stuck with you. You're a good friend, Shovel Jake. Yeah, maybe not as good as him. I've got to make things right. You do know where I can find some masks? I don't care if it's dangerous. Let's go, old chum. How does he do that?
Not now, Agent Joel. I'm busy. Wait, didn't you die in a suit?
It's Casual Friday. I really like Game of Thrones.
Did you watch Game of Thrones in the afterlife?
Of course. Didn't you know that literary characters that die in the books and whatever, they actually come to the afterlife? I've been on this huge bender with Robb Stark, who's... Never mind. I see you've been celebrating El Santomas. Well, I'm the ghost of El Santomas past.
Really?
No, I'm just lonely. The ghost realm was all fuckered. You know, we kept fading in and out, and not in the usual places like, you know, showers where naked ladies are.
Nice.
Well, it was until you guys fucked up time. You guys gotta get on getting those MacGuffins.
I know, but El Santo miss!
Would El Santo let the world crumble around him? No, he'd justice the shit out of it.
I guess you're right. But we never really looked for the MacGuffins. We just kind of stumbled on them.
And you don't have to, because I know exactly where the next one is. But you gotta give up on El Santomas this year. I'm sorry.
You're right. Now lead me to those MacGuffins! Listen, man, I'm really sorry about earlier.
Me too. I got us something. I had to break into that evil karate dojo down the street, but I think it was worth it. I know Santomas is really important to you, Jake, and that means it ought to be important to me. And it is. We're reviewer buddies. We gotta stick together.
Are those lucha masks? You got us both, son?
You know it, bud.
El Santomas is pretty awesome, but time is too. So I got us both something as well.
Is that the next MacGuffin?
Yeah, it's a monster lure. I guess when you do this, it calls up all the monsters in the world.
Who knows? You called all the monsters in the world!
No trouble.
You're right. Well, we're fucked. But at least we're fucked together.
It's El Santo! And he's wrestling every monster in the world!
And the karate masters have come looking for their masks! Get him, El Enmascarados del Claudas!
He did it! He wrestled all the monsters in the world and won! It's easily the most amazing thing I've ever seen off camera.
It was. If I hadn't seen that myself with my very own eyes, I'd have been pissed.
El Santo, you broke your rule about justicing.
Did you do that just for us?
La justicia nunca descansa, así que realmente yo nunca descansaré. Ustedes dos tienen el corazón de un real luchador. Tengan este obsequio.
Wow. What's this?
Mi lucha contra las fuerzas del mal y la criminalidad nunca acaba. Debo irme.
Thanks, El Santo!
So all the karate experts were wrestled and smashed, and all the world's monsters were slain in a dash. With El Santo's help, Jake and Trev set things right. And so I say to you all, Merry Santomas, and to all a... No, wait, what? This is the laziest rhyming I've ever seen. Of all the shoddy, stupid, poorly contrived... How do they talk me into this crap?
peanut butter disaster.